Welcome to the Author's Corner Review, brought to you by KNEO Radio, 91.7 FM. I'm Roberta Foster, and I've got some interesting nonfiction books for you today. The first is called Unearthing the Mysteries of Ancient Shechem, revealing the biblical truths of Golgotha, Israel's future, and the biblical end of days. And it's written by Messianic Rabbi Zev Poreh. Hidden in plain sight for thousands of years, the ancient city of Shechem may hold one of the most astonishing and overlooked keys to understanding God's redemptive plan. Mentioned more than 70 times from Genesis to Acts, Shechem is the very place where God promised Abraham that through his seed all nations would be blessed, where Joshua staged the dramatic covenant ceremony between Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, and where he issued his immortal challenge, "Choose you this day whom you will serve." Now, in a provocative and eye-opening investigation, Messianic Rabbi Zev Poreh, a native of Israel, uncovers biblical and prophetic connections long buried beneath tradition and silence. Connections linking ancient Shechem directly to Golgotha and the Messiah himself. Drawing on scripture, geography, archaeology, and prophetic insight, this rare journey of spiritual archaeology exposes patterns and truths that reshape how readers understand the land of Israel, the life of Yeshua, and God's eternal plan for the ages, bringing ancient hidden mysteries into urgent relevance for today. Messianic Rabbi Zev Poreh is an Israeli-born teacher, author, and founder of Messiah of Israel Ministries. Raised in an Orthodox rabbinic family in Israel, he brings a powerful blend of Jewish heritage and faith in Yeshua to his teaching and outreach across Israel and the international stage. A frequent media guest, Poreh has appeared on television and radio programs throughout Europe and the United States discussing biblical faith, prophecy, and Israel. And that is the book Unearthing the Mysteries of Ancient Shechem by Messianic Rabbi Zev Poreh. Next is the book The King is Coming. It's Time to Prepare for the Return of Christ, written by John Bevere and published by Thomas Nelson and W Publishing Group, an imprint of Thomas Nelson. Are you ready for the return of Jesus? We live in unprecedented times, global unrest, moral confusion, spiritual deception. Even the casual observer senses history is accelerating toward a climax. Signs all around point toward a moment of both reckoning and redemption. In the book, The King is Coming, best-selling author John Bevere moves beyond the prophetic speculation to address the most timely and crucial question before our generation. How should we live in light of Christ's imminent return? By masterfully unpacking scripture to challenge the subtle indifference that keeps many from fully living for Jesus, Bevere helps you understand biblical prophecy with clarity and confidence. Deepen your relationship with Jesus and live with a holy awe of God. Cultivate an eternal perspective that inspires you to confidently share the hope of the gospel with others and embrace your identity as the spotless bride of Christ, ready for his glorious return. Whether you've studied prophecy for years or are just beginning to explore these truths, this book will prepare you to live with assurance, purpose, and holy expectation. According to Scripture, every believer will respond to Christ's return in one of two ways, with shame or with confidence. The choice is yours, and the time to prepare is now. The King is Coming by John Bevere, published by W Publishing Group. Our next book is called Weaponized: The Left's Capture and Destruction of America's Sacred Institutions, written by Seth Barron. In Weaponized, lively, informative, insightful, prescriptive, and darkly amusing, New York City-based reporter-at-large Seth Barron exposes the infiltration and destruction of essential institutions by the progressive left in order to undermine society and impose its radical agenda upon the American people. Citizenship. When did the American dream stop being for Americans and become an aspiration we owe to everyone else in the world? Policing. Why defund the police is not only dangerous for citizens who want public safety, but is at its core a cynical strategy for the radical left to take over the last public institution not owned by the Democratic Party. Housing. How density and YIMBY are sneaky ways for the left to wage war on the suburbs that they see as racist, exploitative, environmentally unsustainable bastions of white supremacy. And education. How the left unionized education and leveraged its members' dues into an electoral slush fund, froze out parents, gained control of curriculum, and turned school into an indoctrination center for radical perspectives on gender and privilege. Ignore the radical leftist forces that seek to interrupt, distort, and heave up the American way of life at your own risk. Seth Barron is on the editorial board of the New York Post and is a New York City-based reporter and editor who covers local and national politics. His works has appeared in many different publications, and he is the author of The Last Days of New York, a reporter's true tale, of which Newsmax host Greg Kelly wrote, Barron cuts through the noise and provides a devastating account of a city's decline under the delusional leadership of socialists and conmen. And that is the book Weaponized by Seth Barron and published by Humanix. And next I have the book Reimagining Church as Family, and it's written by Rich Griffith and J.J. Jones and published by D6 Family Ministry. The very definition of family has been slowly changing. Traditional families now account for just 37% of families, down from 67% in 1970. People are marrying later, and single-parent families are proliferating. According to the Heritage Foundation, one path is marked by declining marriage, low birth rates, high unwed childbearing, casual divorce, abortion on demand, and the rejection of biological sex. Dr. Rich Griffith and Dr. J.J. Jones believe the trends are often ignored by churches. Few people would argue against the fact that solid families are the bedrock of a healthy society. As more families crumble or get redefined, churches are often at a loss to know how to respond. In Reimagining Church as Family, Griffith and Jones are outspoken advocates for deliberately reaching children and adults who do not belong to the traditional family model. With nearly 1 in 4 children living in a single-parent home, single mothers make up 80% of these, kids often feel left out. But that's not all. A whopping 500,000 kids are in the foster care system. Another segment is children being raised by grandparents, more than 2 million. The authors don't dispute the advantages of traditional families, but they do suggest that to reach a larger portion of today's youth will require the recognition that, for better or worse, the family is changing. In the book Reimagining the Church as Family, Griffith and Jones encourage the 30 million Christian grandparents in the U.S. to help with spiritual formation of their grandkids. They encourage readers to reach out to the foster care system and bring vulnerable kids into their own family. Mostly they want churches to see those who don't fit the traditional molds and see them as members of God's family. They say, maybe in an effort to be relevant, we have undertaken approaches that have been culturally relevant but have forgotten how to be biblically relevant and obedient. Rich Griffith is an associate professor of youth ministry at Toccoa Falls College. He holds a Master of Theology and Doctorate in Youth, Family, and Culture from Fuller Seminary. He also serves as a part-time pastor and is a member of the board of the Association of Youth Ministry Educators. J.J. Jones is a graduate of Union University and holds a Master of Divinity from Fuller Seminary. With almost 40 years of experience in youth and family groups and discipleship, he is currently pastor of groups at Fellowship Bible Church in Brentwood, Tennessee, and an adjunct professor at Toccoa Falls College. Now, recapping the books I've shared with you, We have Reimagining Church as Family by Rich Griffith and J.J. Jones, published by D6 Family Ministry. Weaponize: The Left's Capture and Destruction of America's Sacred Institutions by Seth Barron and published by Humanics. The King is Coming: It's Time to Prepare for the Return of Christ by John Bevere, published by W Publishing Group. And Unearthing the Mysteries of Ancient Shechem, Revealing the Biblical Truths of Golgotha, Israel's Future, and the Biblical End of Days, written by Messianic Rabbi Zev Poreh, and that's published by Defender. If you'd like more information about any of these books, we encourage you to visit the publisher's website. And if you'd like to hear this review again or share it with another, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform or through kneo.org. This has been Roberta Foster with your Author's Corner Review. Join me again next time on KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word.